right? So I think what is going to happen is AI is going to be in every industry, in every degree, right? So always think of X plus AI, right? So if you're passionate about, I don't know, biology, biotech, great, just do your biotech, but then also don't be afraid of AI, number one, then more actively embrace AI, right? So those are the two things. There are sort of 4 key criteria I would lay out, right? So call it the 4 C's for managing in this AI world. Now, the first one is be curious. The second one is your ability to communicate. The third one is collaborate. And the fourth one is the X that I was talking about. So be an expert in one of the content areas, maybe 2, but at least 1, right? So curious, because if you're not curious, you're not going to be exploring and seeing what are the possibilities. You're going to get stuck in what you do well. And that could be dangerous because the world is changing so fast and AI is making the world change fast, even if we try and slow it down. So be curious as to what is happening beyond what you're currently doing, because that may be your future. Communication is still, I think we are still transacting from a human to human level. And if you don't have that communication, it's going to be very difficult, right? So yes, you're using all the devices, but at the end of the day, it is still human to human. Communication is important. The third one, the kinds of skills that a lot of people are going to need, is that collaboration. As I said, when X and AI come together is when the magic happens. So be the person who is actually collaborating. If you are on the X side of things, a content expert in one of the areas or a couple of the areas, then actively pursue people in the AI to see how you can do your job better with the AI, using the people who understand that AI. If you're on the AI side of things, just don't ignore the 90% of the population and say, I'm just going to be working on just making AI better and better. Yes, you can make that better and better. If that X doesn't use you, then you are sunk. So try and collaborate with the people who don't know AI, maybe scared with AI, but sort of demystify the AI so that you can work with them. That collaboration is important for whether it's AI people or the X people, you need to collaborate better. And lastly, it is the content, right? So now the reason I'm emphasizing content here is there is this notion that we can give everything to the machine, right? So, hey, do I really need to study here? When I want, I can ask the question to ChatGPT, it'll give me the answer, and then I can just tell someone that, right? So now one of the things that we should be really conscious of is what is the value that I'm adding over and above all these systems? There are different levels to this answer. So one is whether it's personal data or corporate data, right? So with respect to personal data, if you use any of these sort of standard systems, they will use your data to modify their model and maybe enhance their model. What they have said and what they do, I think, is they don't keep track or keep a log of all of your information. Those logs actually vanish after the session, some of them after multiple sessions. So they go, but they do use your data to actually train the system, right? So now, obviously, corporates don't want that to be happening. So on the corporate side, if you have an enterprise license with any of these large players, what they promise, again, it is a contractual agreement, right? So whether you actually believe it or not, it's up to you, right? So, but it's a contractual agreement that they have where they say that, no, we are not going to use the data that comes from you to train our models. And they also say they are not going to keep the prompt and keep the documents that you're sharing. And in fact, you need not share your documents, but it's only the context in which those things are being pulled out is what is shared with, let's say you're using OpenAI, it obviously goes and gets the answer on their cluster, on their cloud, and then you get the answer, right? So that's one level of the answer to your question. But then whether it's personal or the other one, now what the companies are also doing is working on what they're calling as memory, right? So the more you're telling certain things, it's actually keeping a log of those things, and it's actually synthesizing those into from the prompts. They go to short-term memory. From the short-term memory, they are actually storing some of these things as long-term memory. So you can do that now. You can ask ChatGPT, tell me about me in 5 lines or 10 lines or 10 characteristics of me. It'll actually tell you who you are based on the queries that you have asked over whatever period of time. Now, so that's how they are getting the memory. Now, one of the things that's currently happening in the industry is people are saying, hey, can the users have access to that memory? Can they change that memory? Can they say that, hey, don't remember that, forget that, right? So that was old news, right? So now use this. Can they actually get to manipulate the memory that is associated? Now, some players, so memory is a good way to hook you in and sort of have that repetitive behavior. That's what they want to develop memory. Now, some of the open source people are now claiming that, hey, the memory should be something that should be available to be transferred. Interoperability between different things we should do. Now, there is a movement, and one of the states is sort of looking at some legislation where if you are on the social media, you want to just have one unique handle. And then if I don't want to be on a platform X, I should be able to use all my likes and follows and everything from one social handle to the other. Very much like if you go back maybe a decade or so, there was mobile number portability. Doesn't matter which company I am signed up. So early on, when you signed up with a mobile company, you are stuck with them. Or if you change, then you have to change your number. So the social networking people are now asking for, hey, can we get a single handle so I can migrate from place to place and my followers and others are there, right? So now think of that as your social network. Extend that into, hey, I want to be able to go into whether it's Gemini or Claude or Microsoft or DeepSeek. I want to take my memory with me. So who owns the memory? I own my memory and my conversations. If that happens, then quote unquote, that memory comes with you, and there could be various ways of protecting. All interesting issues. We haven't gone there yet, but that's some of the proposals and some of the things that, again, back to what Elizabeth was asking earlier, we should be demanding more of that, right? So obviously the companies don't want to do that, right? So, but we should be demanding that from them and say, hey, we want just like, we need memory portability, because the memory is my interaction with you. Same thing we are seeing in Netflix and some of the other channels, right? So, but now we are already starting that process. There are a number of things that were not done right in the social networking era, and we have realized that after 15 years. Now, here's an opportunity as this new technology is coming for at least for this to be done a little bit right. Of course, there's nothing perfect here in this world. We'll always learn, but at least we should learn from the social networking side, all the things that we did not do well. We should at least try and fix that when we do the AI one.
This has been such an insightful session, and so as we bring this to a close, firstly, I want to say a massive thank you to you for joining and for spending your morning with us, and for also being gracious with your time and for taking time to answer all the questions. And so a massive thank you from us. So yes, thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening or day, depending on where you are.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for having me.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Thanks everyone. Yeah, thank you.